Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about my biggest contribution during this semester, which comes from my role as a HR analyst and business partner at RCC. I would say my biggest contribution was building and implementing a manager compliance and HR analytics system that significantly improve accountabilities and operational consistency across multiple programs. When I first stepped into the role, one of the biggest challenges was the lack of visibilities into what managers were actually doing on the HR side. Things like employee documentations, corrective actions, and performance tracking were very inconsistent. Some managers were doing everything on time, while others were missing critical steps, which created both compliance risk and operational inefficiency. To address this, I built a critic centralized tracking system using Excel and Power BI. The goal was simple, create transparency, and make experience clear. I started by identifying key metrics that actually matter, for example, documentation, completion rates, timeline of submission, and closure of corrective actions. And I work with leader to align on what good performance looks like in measured terms. After that, I designed a dashboard that allowed leadership to quickly see which teams were meeting expectation and which one were falling behind. Instead of relying on assumptions or one-off conversation, we now had a real data guide decision. One specific example is manager documentations compliance before the system. Completion rate was around 58%. After implementation, it jumped to 96%. But I think what mattered more than the number itself was the behavior change behind it. Manager become more proactive, more aware of their responsibilities, and more consistent in how they handle employee issue. In addition to build the system, I also focused on communications and training. I didn't just send out reports. I met the managers, explained the data, and helped them understand how I connect to their day-to-day work. That part really important because data alone doesn't give change, people do. Now, in terms of how I accomplish this, I would highlight three things. First, I focus on understanding the real problem instead of jumping straight into the solutions. It wasn't just about missing paperwork, it's about lack of structures and understand the expectation. Second, I made sure the system was practice and easy to use. If something is too complicated, managers won't use it. So I keep it simple, virtual, and direct tied to their responsibilities. And now, one important part of my experience this term is that I made the decision to leave the organization before the end of the period. The reason was that I was able to drive improvement at the operational level, but there are still board and management and leadership challenges that I had difficult situation in the long-term impact. There were gaps in alignment, decision making, and accountabilities at higher levels, which limited how far this initiative could go. This was not an easy decision, but I saw the strategic choice of my professional growth. I want to be in an environment where strong HR practices are supported and reinforced at all levels of the organization. Looking back, would I do anything different? I think one thing I have done earlier is to escalate some of these structural challenges sooner than more directly. At the beginning, I focused heavily on solving problems within my scope, which did create short-term improvement. But in the high side, some of the issues require earlier alignment at leadership level, which wasn't solved. Leadership wasn't really doing what they're supposed to, and structure isn't consistent in the leadership team. That said, I don't regret the approach I took. The experience taught me how to build a system from the ground up and how to influence a manager and how to negative complex organization dynamic. Most importantly, it helped me better understand the kind of organization I want to be part of. One of the value data-driven decision making, accountabilities, and strong leadership. So overall, well, my biggest contribution was building a system that improved compliance and consistency. The border takeaway for me was learning how to drive changes and recognize when environment is no longer the right fit for the change to continue. Thank you, and this is my reflection video.